I've been going crazy, starting to literally hate my singing voice. I am a singer. My singing voice is the most important thing to me about myself. How do you rebuild that trust? This is Pointing to the Moon, reflections on the process of building an artistic career with well-being in mind. I'm Catherine. I'm an actress, singer, and writer working to build a career. I'm not here to add to the noise or feed you promises. This is a place of peace, reflection, and taking pride in the process. Hello, and this is Pointing to the Moon episode 3. This is my first video episode, so welcome. I haven't really honestly figured out the configuration yet because I have things I want to say kind of written out on my computer, otherwise I'll ramble for literally all of eternity. I already just, so you guys understand, it's not that it's scripted, it's that I already rambled into my phone and then wrote that down to make it a little, like just the tiniest bit more coherent. And now I'm gonna look at that for reference as I ramble again. So it's actually just 3 renditions of rambling, but maybe I'll find some value in it, hopefully. I discovered some things personally while I was writing and saying it and writing it again. So let's just see. This week I'm going to be talking about self-trust, more specifically trust in your own voice and your artistic voice. I was trying to record covers, songs, so I could post and share on Instagram and other platforms. And I was reflecting on my own post versus other people's, which is already on the wrong track, and other people's voices. And I started just really hating my voice. Like, there's a specific tone or like a world of tones that does really well on social media. It just works and it sounds beautiful and it's so soothing and it's just nice to hear on social media. And it's that really calming, beautiful, light but rich sound. A lot of times it has like an indie element to, like a modern touch, and a lot of them have like a little vocal fry, but then they'll have like a really pure tone too. It's really impressive and it sounds gorgeous. But I'm thinking like a Lizzie McAlpine, kind of like a Billie Eilish also. Those two do not sound the same, but again, they're in the same world. There's like a richness and an ease at the same time. And I was getting so jealous because I feel like my voice doesn't really align with that. Like, there's some kind of harsher, if you're to use a negative word, like brighter, almost brassier tones in my voice that I can't seem to get rid of no matter what I do. Even if I'm singing really lightly and easy, it just, there's something that's just a little different. And I've never really thought of that as bad. I haven't been so critical of that before, but looking into the social media world specifically and the things that succeed on social media, I've started to become hyper aware of it. Honestly, the tones that I have, they can be really useful stylistically in certain genres, and especially for like soul, when I want to get like a little more edge and a little more like to my voice, and I really want to feel something, and that is useful in a lot of the kind of stuff that I do, but not for making covers on TikTok, really. I'm sure there are exceptions, but that's just what I was seeing and what was getting in my head. And I'm sure this comes from my musical theater training, even though that's not really an attribute of musical theater singers necessarily. But honestly, I think it's just my voice. Like, my mom definitely has that kind of like, I don't want to say harshness, but harshness to her voice. Like, there's like a brassiness is the best word, like a resonance, where like I can hear my mom talking across the house no matter how quiet she's talking. There's just like something about her voice, and mine's a little more mellow than hers, but it still has that thing that makes it feel impossible to sound like Lizzie McAlpine or someone like that, Clairo, you know what I mean? That kind of voice. And those are big artists, but Honestly, Lizzie McAlpine got big off TikTok, I think. So that's kind of a good example. That's the best example. But it was driving me crazy. It was driving me crazy. Just second guessing myself, thinking maybe I'm not a good singer since I don't sound like these people who sound so nice. But then let's take a second and check the facts, right? Because if we're looking historically, if we're looking at the greats, the great singers, the iconic female singers, Ella Fitzgerald versus Nina Simone versus Amy Winehouse versus Janis Joplin versus Emmylou Harris versus Etta James versus Adele even, I don't know. They're all appreciated for their own unique tone. There's a huge range of tones of voices in these people, and they're all considered great, and they're all considered iconic and legendary and amazing and make people feel something. And none of them sound the same, even like remotely. So why would I ever worry that I don't sound like someone else? Like if I like my voice, and if people are affected by my voice, which I've been told like person to person that people are, what would I worry about? Like if anyone's able to be moved by my voice and I'm able to express what I need to express via my voice and do it effectively and in a way that I experience some like almost transcendent feelings and how clearly I can express through my voice. Wow, like what else is there, you know? So there was a huge perspective change for me because I've always gotten, I mean, I feel like singing can especially be hard when it comes to external validation and needing it or not needing it, because you do not sound the same in your head as you do outside of your head. That's just a fact. And I think the more you hone and train your voice and record yourself and listen back and perform, you get a better sense of like how to tune what's happening in your head to what's happening outside your head. But you never really know what it sounds like. You just get better at feeling out the gap, I guess. You get a better sense of the gap. And so I feel like I started to doubt myself based on that, like thinking, who knows what I actually sound like, or if I sing something and I don't get an immediate validation, then I start to doubt myself, like maybe I'm not actually a good singer just because no one immediately told me I sound beautiful and great and amazing and stunning. And that's not conducive to artistic success. Like to have that roller coaster of dopamine based off external reactions to your work, that's not the thing to focus on. And not to go for like low-hanging fruit here, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but do you think like Bob Dylan was getting off the stage you have such a beautiful voice? Probably not, right? But people were affected by him. People still are to this day, and he moves people, and he's iconic, and he's like considered one of the greats in music. So maybe it's not so black and white, but that focus on validation causes you to doubt so much and get so nervous because you have a loss of control. I remember when I was younger and my voice has gone through a lot of shifts. Like they don't really tell you as a girl your voice also changes, and it gets so scary. Like when I was in, I think the start of high school, and again when I was 21, I had changes in my voice and I freaked out both times because I was like, is my voice just done? Is it gone forever? Do I suck now? Because you don't realize, like, you have puberty voice changes, you have other hormonal voice changes as a woman. But I felt it very significantly in early high school, and I was totally blindsided. I thought my voice had mysteriously vanished, and it was terrifying, especially when your world revolves around the fact that you can sing. Like, what do? All your passions are wrapped up in it. I was so scared. And my voice has been something that I've always been able to lean on. Honestly, when I was younger, I'd get so much praise for it. Teachers would dote on me for it, and I was just used to that. And all of a sudden I'm fighting with it and I can't count on it. all the ways I knew how to manipulate my voice weren't working. Every tool failed. So I would be terrified to sing in front of people since I had no control over it, no way of knowing what to expect. In high school, when this first happened, I was in an art school, so I had to sing all the time, like a few to several times a week, in front of my whole class of people who I've been with since 7th grade through 12th grade and can be kind of competitive. And we were all a little bit vicious because we're in high school and we're insecure, and it was so scary. When I didn't have control over my voice, I had no idea what's going to come out of my mouth. I'd be shaking, literally shaking. And I got crippling anxiety because my voice was unreliable. And in getting a little bit older, I wasn't getting so much constant encouragement. Like, I started second guessing even farther. So this turned into a total loss of myself, because something I believed in since I was literally 4 years old, that I was a singer, that I was talented, that I was meant to be a singer, that I had a beautiful voice, was totally uncertain. I wondered if I'd really ever been talented at all, or if it was just the encouragement anyone would offer to someone my age. I was so confident that I was going to be a singer, and that was just lost to me all of a sudden. And I realized that a huge part of my identity as a vocalist as I was growing up was the fact that I got accolades, the fact that I got compliments. It was even something I could take pride in and lean on when I wasn't doing well socially. I felt like I could get away with being a bit awkward and shy because I was focused on something bigger and I had something no one else had. I took solace in the fact that I was devoted to my voice and my singing, and it was like a safe haven for me. Then going into high school, everyone's voice started getting better and mine seemed to be slipping through the cracks. Any pretense I had that my social crippling was a result of dedication to my art was worthless because it didn't set me apart from anyone. Now, I powered my way through high school, still doing all the auditions and doing any show I could, but the fear didn't subside. I had the shakiness that came up anytime I'd have to sing in front of people that I couldn't shake. It got to be so debilitating that when I got into college, I gave up singing entirely. The fear completely drowned out the joy. The craziest part is that I did have people who were believing in my voice, teachers in the program even, who supported me and believed in me. But I had my identity so bound to the idea that I had to be the best singer that if that wasn't the case, if that wasn't across the table, across the board is the word, shown to be the case, any evidence or any support that I was good or that I was talented honestly felt worthless and meaningless, because what is that when you want to be the best and nothing but the best, you know? When you have such a deep void in your trust for yourself and your own abilities and such impossible expectations for yourself, nothing can really fill you up. I eventually started to recover. I started taking musical theater classes again, singing, and got back on stage in a much more supportive and less competitive scenario. And now I'm putting out my own music, something that requires even more self-belief. I got reviews on my songs this week that were flattering to my voice, and some saying my voice was the weakest part of my song, effectively ruining it. But while I'm always in lessons, continuing to hone my voice and finding new ways to use it, getting inspiration, I'm rebuilding my trust in my natural sound and my unique tone. At the very least, I'm going to trust what I'm expressing through my music and honor my voice as my means of reaching out to anyone who listens. And I'm going to keep using my natural voice and sharing it because it's me and it's unique. I also think that using your own voice helps you to find your people and your collaborators and the people you're meant to be working with, and your art will find the ears that it's meant to find. Because if you're pretending to be like someone else, if you're trying to have a different sound than you have, or write in a different way and curate your writing and steer your writing in a direction that's not authentic to you, you're blocking yourself, number one, from the real like source energy of art, and from God, if you believe in God, or from the universe, that's being provided to you and channeled through you into art. So you're basically rejecting that and saying, I know better and I know what people want, instead of accepting and letting stuff flow through you. But also, there's all these authentic relationships you can build with people through having the same perspective on art, or having similar perspectives, and being able to find like a meeting point. And not perspective necessarily, but for voice, like when I find people who really understand my voice and understand kind of where it fits and what goes well with it and what songs would fit it and where it would shine, that makes me feel so lit up, and that lights that person up too, because they know how to collaborate with me, and it just opens up so many new doors and opportunities for something new to grow and be created. If I show up and I'm putting on a voice and I'm trying to sound like someone else and I'm inauthentic to myself, it's not gonna ring through like that. It's not gonna create those connections, at least from my experience. But honestly, the best feeling is when another artist who you're working with like totally sees you in that way, like just knows what your deal is with your voice or your writing or whatever you're doing, and just knows how to connect with you and sees the vision. It's the best. Nothing beats it. So going into this week, think about, if you had total trust in your artistic voice and what you bring to the table, what would you do different? Would you be more visible? What chances would you take? Make sure to leave a rating, follow, subscribe if we're on YouTube, and tune in next time. Thank you.